Hey there, welcome back to 101 Ways of Being. My name is Julia Schroeder. It's been quite a while since I've recorded, probably over a month. And, there's been a lot of times when I've wanted to record, or, it's been on my mind quite often, but just haven't been able to get myself to do it. So here we are today. Hi, how are you? I know, at least for me, these planets in retrograde and everything that's been going on lately, it's been heavy. It's been feeling like my brain is being pulled in a lot of different directions. And it's good. It's good to be busy. It's good to have change, but there's also some things that aren't so great. And so, I'm just processing those things in the only way that I know how to process. That is by journaling. As we step into warmer socks and settle in for colder days, perhaps we have a little more time to peruse through the catalog of memories from the past many years or so. Along with an uncertain future ahead, journaling can be one practice of many that grounds you and equips you with the tools to better understand your own path along the spirals of life. Journaling and taking that time to reflect can help you really better understand your journey and make sense of your own story, which the last episode I talked about was reading between the lines of your own story. So I'm not going to get too into that now. You can go back and watch that episode if you missed it. But so this episode, I'd like to get into the different methods of journaling. I just sort of like to offer a few different things you can try. Whether you are already someone that journals, or maybe you want to journal more, maybe you've never journaled before. This is just a little bit of a look at different methods of what you can uncover on the pages. So I'll offer a few different methods of reflection, and then a little bit of time for you to pause the video and reflect if you would like. I'll give more direction once we get to that part. But I'm sort of creating this episode a little bit of, to kind of work in a little bit of that journaling. Perhaps because I think that it can be really powerful when you really give yourself that time to go inward and see what you discover. About a year ago, I wrote on my blog about healing and fueling your passions through daily writing. I think it was actually the first post on my website. And in hindsight, I would phrase it a little differently to encapsulate other types of reflection other than just writing, because I realized that, not everyone is even able to hold a pen. It's not, something that's even an enjoyable thing for everyone. So I think finding your own way to reflect, like I've mentioned in other episodes, could just be talking to your camera or just sitting and thinking for a little while. Just consider adding a little bit of time into your day. And so I'd like to read a little bit of that article and then kind of build off of that somewhat. This title is 3 Ways to Heal and Fuel Your Passions with Writing. Do your thoughts keep you up at night? Are you flooded with a wave of the day as soon as you wake up in the morning? day-to-day life can be daunting and especially difficult at times to sort out all that's going on personally, professionally, and physically in our lives. In moments of frustration, overwhelm, and even underwhelm, writing is one of the best ways to deal with whatever you've got going on. When you don't feel like you can talk to anyone or you struggle to understand how you feel, writing has your back. You don't have to be a writer to write. The blank page is a clean slate. It provides the space to do with whatever you wish. Divulge your deepest insecurities, map out your hopes, and draw your dreams. You can dump your mind into the page and find solace amongst the free space. At the very least, you can simply take note of the space in which you exist. Writing is a lens through which to see what is right in front of you. How does the air feel today? Are there clouds in the sky? What's on your to-do list? Clear the air and ground yourself on the page. You can write about your passions, sources for inspiration, what makes you smile. You can write about your fears and your foes. While roaming through the uncharted territory of your emotions, you can discover things about yourself, if you're open to it. The more you write, the more you learn about yourself. By writing through it or taking time to sit and reflect, you find that you contain all the answers you're searching for. One of the main methods of journaling that I practice on an almost day-to-day basis has a few different names. It goes by a few different descriptions. Some people would call it stream of consciousness writing. Some people call it brain dumping. And that's sort of what I call it, just dumping your mind onto the page. Because we are all capable of healing through writing. Whether you've never written more than a paper for school or you've been journaling your whole life. Writing became a method of therapy and expression in my childhood, but I more fully realized the benefits of writing, whatever comes to mind, when I started to dedicate a little time each morning to the practice. So at least for me, what I love to do, after I let out my dog and get her breakfast, is I get a cup of tea or coffee, and I sit right here in this chair actually, and I just write about the day ahead, whatever is on my mind. And it's surprising, the more I've done it, and especially the days that I really allow myself to spend more than just a couple of pages writing, I've really been able to answer questions that I have. So maybe you make a commitment to yourself to write for 10 minutes as you drink your morning coffee, or you take 30 minutes to write before bed. Whenever you can find time to write, get it all out. Yes, some days are really, really hard. There are days when you don't want to face the world. Days that make you question what it is you are really doing here. Or days you simply have a lot to do. That is all the more reason to write. Sort yourself out to avoid being swept up in the day. When you truly let yourself out on the page, that is when the magic happens. By magic, I mean you start to sift through what is going on in your head. Find reason within the chaos. Just plain. When wrestling with a tough decision, the answer comes out on the page. You can find what you were looking for by writing for it. Some days, all you may have to think about is that day of the week and what you have planned. Or all you may think to write about is that day of the week or what you have planned. Maybe you are moving soon, just got out of a relationship, or unsure what to do next with your life. The page has your back when everything feels like it's spinning around you. Writing provides the potential to alter your outlook and feel better about your life. So another method of journaling is gearing into gratitude. This is still reading from my blog post that I wrote last year. But there I wrote, a few years back, my older sister gifted me a gratitude journal, which I have on my shelf, which I meant to grab it, but oh well. In this journal, which had daily prompts and fitting quotes, amended my perception of my surroundings altogether. I came to realize that the more you truly feel grateful for what you have, the more open you become to receiving more of life's blessings. But you don't need a special gratitude journal filled with quotes to get started. All you need is a blank piece of paper and a pen. Grab a variety of colors if you feel called to make the page pretty. At the top of the page, write, I feel grateful for, and then fill out the whole page. Notice how you feel when you get to the end of that page. On another page, you can start to contemplate how grateful you will feel with the life you are creating. Along with using your journal as a space to take note of what you're grateful for and really feel into that gratitude, it can also be a method for grounding. You can simply just sit there and practice the art of presence by taking note of what you hear. You hear birds, cars driving by, a plane overhead, a dog barking, and what is happening in the room around you. People often have this tool for anxiety where you list in your head, 5 different things in the room and 4 sounds and 3 smells and what you're tasting and whatnot. And so you can just transfer that practice onto the page and expand on that. And perhaps that could be a gateway to talking about how you feel, or it can just be something that makes you forget about everything you're thinking about a little bit and just focusing on, where am I right now? Something else that I love to journal about is what, sort of expanding on the goals and dreams that I have. As someone who is an avid list maker, I have often written out what my goals are, but I've found that really taking the time to visualize what you're trying to achieve, thinking about, okay, what do I actually need to do to get there, I think it makes it seem a little bit less daunting. And so when visualizing your goals, whether written, drawn, or glued onto a vision board, you can start to see what steps you need to take to get closer to your dream life. So, you can write about, something, a lot of people talk about manifesting and whatnot. But for example, you might be trying to take better care of your body and eat healthier, stay more active, and trying new forms of activity. And by visualizing it, you can start to think about how it feels good to be healthy. Writing that I love to take care of myself. I have lots of energy all day and sleep good at night. I love being active. Along with the, journaling about what you're grateful for, along with just journaling whatever comes to mind, you can also answer prompts, which, I often share a prompt in these episodes, different questions to reflect on. There's always, things you can find online, you can search journal prompts, find a whole bunch of different things. Because sometimes maybe you do need a few different questions to invoke what you want to write about rather than just sitting down with a blank page. Sometimes it helps to ask a few questions, and you don't have to come up with questions yourself. Like I said, there's lots of resources out there with different prompts. A fun little writing activity that I like to do every once in a while, I call it a stop, drop, and write, inspired from Stop, Drop, and Spins, which is this thing on Instagram with, flow artists and tagging each other, wanting them to see them flow, but just to stop, drop, and write about a random object in the room or outside, wherever you are, just looking around the room, just one thing, piece of art on the wall. And, just sort of writing and describing about it, just writing down any observations you make about that thing, and thinking about how does the item make you feel? What feelings does it invoke? Why did you choose that item of all the things? Is it just where your eyes happen to fall first? And how might that apply to something in your life now? Another aspect of journaling, or another avenue you can take your journal writing down, is for all you tarot and oracle readers, or maybe you don't read yet, or if you have someone do a reading for you, it's really interesting to write about your readings, even just writing down some random thing that comes to mind when you're looking at a spread of cards. It might not make sense now, but it could make more sense when you look back on it. When you journal about it, you can simply, and this really depends on what your practice is like with these, but something I've been learning recently from the Tarot for Yourself by Mary Kay Greer, a practice that she offers in that book is just, taking one of the cards and basically stepping into that card and writing down everything that comes up when you look at that card. What feelings come up, what is actually happening on that card, just taking note of everything and really getting to know the cards, especially when you're doing a reading and, seeing what comes up when these cards appear. And when you keep track of your readings, then you can look back every once in a while and then see if you got the same card multiple times, or, see how these cards relate to each other. And I think it's just something that's really interesting, and you can better get to know yourself through this. I'm not sure if that's enough on that. If you guys want to know more about that, or you have any feedback as far as talking about tarot reading, please let me know. I could always still do more. I could talk a lot about tarot because it's so fascinating to me. But as far as with journaling about it, I think it can just help you get more from the reading. So if you're not journaling currently with your tarot and oracle readings, maybe start. And if you already do, then I'm curious to, have a conversation with you about what you have discovered. Just link up with me. I'm super interested to learn about other people's experiences reading tarot for themselves, as well as reading for other people, or if someone has read from you and what you've gained from that. It's just so fascinating. But anyway, I think think that covered a good amount of different methods. So let me know if you have any other methods that you're into. For myself, I kind of do a variety of these things. It really depends on what I'm feeling that day. Some days I don't journal, but I'm at a point now where I feel weird on the days that I don't journal. It's definitely a big habit of mine. And so for that reason, it's almost hard for me to remember a time before I journaled. I mean, I've always kept a notebook and I journal every once in a while. But before, it was maybe like once a week, or if I was really upset about something, I would journal. But once I started really practicing that every day, man, I just feel less overwhelmed. It doesn't make me completely avoid the feelings of overwhelm, but it really helps me sort through what I'm going through. It really does. Whether or not you pick up one or all of these journaling methods, I hope you feel a little bit inspired to spend more time going inward. Observe what it feels to be human each day. Notice how it impacts your perception and in turn supports your passions. Now we're at the point of the episode where, if you'd like, you can pause here and take a moment to journal or simply sit and reflect. Take as long as you need or as much as you have time for. Or skip this for now and come back later. Perhaps write down one of these prompts I'm about to list and return when you have a moment of time. Here are a few random prompts. Take one or two or all of them and write them down in your notebook. I'll also have them in the episode description if you want to copy and paste it into a Word document, however you would like to take these questions. They're super random, kind of just at the top of my head right now because I didn't really prepare this part of the episode. I mean, I pretty much just put together this episode today, so ta-da. But here you go. What brings you joy? The first prompt is, what brings you joy? And the second question is, what are you feeling challenged by? What are you feeling challenged by right now? What are your favorite things about yourself? What are your favorite things about yourself? What parts of yourself do you feel annoyed with? What parts of yourself do you feel annoyed with? Maybe why do you feel that way? And what keeps you from writing? What keeps you from journaling or taking time to reflect? And what is your favorite way to reflect and process? What is your favorite way to reflect and process? And how can you carve out a little bit more space for that in your life? How can you carve out a little bit more space in your life to make more sense of your story? Welcome back. I hope you got a little bit out of that time to journal. And, this is just the start of a journey of better getting to know yourself. So be patient with yourself. Some days you don't feel like journaling, and that's okay. But sometimes it takes a little bit of a discipline too. And sometimes it's like you don't even feel like it. And then as soon as you sit down and write about it, you're like, wow, I feel so much better. So it can take a little bit of forcing yourself to do something as well. And, but once it becomes a habit, it can really be a very beneficial habit, in my opinion. Thank you for tuning into this episode of 101 Ways of Being. Hopefully I will start coming out with more episodes again. Definitely will start bringing more guests back on. This Mercury retrograde has just got me being a hermit. So, we're getting back on the horse. We are getting through it. So I hope you have a beautiful week, beautiful day, whatever. Happy fall. Enjoy this time of year. Enjoy, or I guess, blah, I don't know. So thank you for tuning into another episode of 101 Ways of Being. Or if this is your first time here, I hope you enjoyed or got maybe something to take away from it. If you like the show, please like it, share it, make sure to follow and hit that post bell notification for, to be notified once we release new episodes. And you can sign up for our newsletter on our website, 101waysofbeing.com. And, there, I like to send out newsletters and whatnot. So, sign up for that stuff if you want it. The lighting is so weird in my room. I'm taking a little break from the Patreon stuff for now, just because got a lot going on. Working several different part-time jobs. So that's on the back burner for now. But yeah, hopefully we'll get back to it eventually. But we doing what we can, putting our best foot forward. Yeah. This lighting. Yeah. Gotta love the sunlight, the natural daylight. Gotta love it. Thank you. Peace.